The sun was rising on the island of Sodor, but the pack was still resting. They had had a long day's work yesterday, and now they could rest their aching arms and wheels. Alfie, especially. They were dreaming of having an exciting adventure when all of a sudden, Jack and Alfie were startled by the sudden noise. Isabella reassured them. "That's the wake-up call," she said. "Oh, morning time already?" moaned Alfie. "I'm afraid so," replied his oiler. "Miss Jenny's given the orders. We're to help the engines at Brendam Docks." The machines were surprised. They have never been to the docks before. Max and Monty were especially excited. "Now's our chance to have fun," shouted Max. Monty snickered in agreement. "Ahem," grunted Byron. That caught their attention. When they arrived at the docks, everything was in a mess. Barrels were knocked over, stone laid on the quay, and even the trucks made no difference. Regardless of all this though, the pack was still happy to help. Cranky was especially grateful. He carefully loaded the crates onto Isabella, and she was soon on her way. Even Max and Monty did their jobs without any complaint or recklessness. Isabella was returning to the foundry. She was just heading towards Cranky when all of a sudden, she saw both Thomas and Percy chatting with Salty. "Hi, listen here, you two," he said. "I've the best story yet." Thomas and Percy were pleased, except for Cranky, who just groaned. Salty began. "Have you ever heard of the Wailing Banshee ship?" "No," peeped Percy nervously. "What's that?" "Well," said Salty, "one of the sailors once told me a story about a ship that has lost on its way to port. It was foggy on the way. Poor captain couldn't see under the bridge. Before they had a chance to look, the ship had run aground. Luckily for the crew, they managed to escape and swim back to safety. Unfortunately, the poor beauty wasn't ever so lucky. But they say that whenever Miss is around, they can hear the shrill whistle of the ship, sounding an urgent distress call to be saved." Thomas and Percy quivered. "I hope I never see the whaling ship," quivered Percy. "Never fear, me lad," comforted Salty. "The story might have been made up by one of the sailors. I hope so." "And I hope," shouted Cranky, "that you all quit your yapping and get back to work." Thomas and Percy rolled their eyes and puffed away. But Isabella had listened to the whole story and was concerned. "I hope I never see the whaling ship," she quivered. She was so worried she didn't realize how late she was until it was too late. "Oh no," she cried. "I must get back to the yards." Later that night at the transfer yards, everyone was soon fast asleep, except for Isabella. She couldn't sleep at all. Jack noticed this and pulled up beside her. "You feeling okay, Isabella?" he asked. Isabella didn't notice him at first. "Huh? Oh, yeah, sorry, Jack. Didn't see you there. Yes, I'm good." "Is something wrong? You can tell me if you want to." Isabella didn't want to tell him at first. She was worried he might laugh at her, but she couldn't lie to him. She took a deep breath and quietly told him all about Salty's story. Jack was very surprised. "You know there's no such thing as a wailing siren," he chuckled. "But I will say, Salty makes it sound real." Isabella just looked at her wheels. She decided it would be best to get some sleep and forget about it. The next morning, Isabella was driving along the road near Timoth Beach. The area was comfortable and the sun shone brightly. Isabella enjoyed it. But then, suddenly, a strange wailing sound. "That's odd," she said. "Doesn't look like there's anyone in trouble." Then she heard the noise again. This time, it sounded louder. It seemed like someone was in danger. Wasting no time, she hurried to where the sound was coming from. She turned a corner and gasped. There, standing on the banks, was a huge ship. Its crew was scattering around. It looked like it had been running aground, and the siren was as loud as the whistle of a steam engine. Isabella knew that the ship couldn't stay there any longer in case it sunk. Thinking quickly, she ran for help. Jack and Alfie were loading rubble when she raced up to them. "Slow down," cried Alfie. "What's the matter?" "There's a ship, and it's run aground," panted Isabella. "You must come quickly." Jack and Alfie gasped, and so they did. Isabella led them to where she found the spot. But when they arrived there, Isabella was shocked to find nothing there. The ship was gone. Isabella was confused. "But I just saw it. It was right there. I could have sworn." "It's all right, Isabella," comforted Jack. "It must have been a crazy dream. We all had that last night." "I swear I wasn't dreaming," protested Isabella. "Well, if it was a dream or not, we'll call it a day and try next time." But before they could, Alfie cried, "Look! There it is!" Jack scooted up. There, standing silently on the beach, was the same ship that Isabella saw. "See?" smirked Isabella. "Not a dream after all." Then a low fog rolled down, covering the whole beach and the ship with it. Jack and Alfie squinted. They saw the ship, and sometimes they didn't. "We better call the rescue team before things get any stranger," gasped Isabella. And so they did. As soon as the news was passed, Sir Topham Haddon sent Gordon with the breakdown train. Callie was sent to help too. Soon Miss Jenny arrived aboard Butch. She thanked Jack and Alfie, and Isabella especially. "An outstanding piece of work," she commended. "But I will say, when we restored the ship, it was gone." Isabella looked at Jack, and then at Alfie, who then smirked at her. Isabella could tell what he was thinking. "When I meet Salty," declared Jack, "I think I'll ask him if his stories are true or not." "When it comes to Salty," chuckled Isabella, "I think we know the answer.